I know three guys who made 750 grand in grant writing revenue with no prior experience in grants because of AI. And they got to that point where they were writing 40 grants a month with just two grant writers. And if you're listening to me and thinking, yep, we're doomed, AI has definitely taken my job as a grant writer, hang tight, because in this video, I'm going to be telling you about how we were going to go into business with them, why it actually all came crumbling down, and the 9 lessons learned spending thousands of hours and dollars exploring the intersection of AI and grant writing. This is a juicy one. Let's hit it. We're going to be talking about this topic live at the Fundraising.ai Summit on October 1st, 2024. Thanks to sponsors like us spending our kidney and left arm, it is free to you, okay? So get registered at the link below. This video is going to be like on steroids to do it live, way more detail. And if you're watching this after it's passed, watch to the end and I'll be able to link up then the next video after this event's happened when it's most fresh and kind of what's come from it. There is so much noise about what AI can and can't do for grant writers, namely the belief that AI is going to take your job. And look, I had a front row seat to watching Chris and his team at Beta build grant writing software that was absolutely slaying it. They were questioning everything I knew about grants. Is my funding strategy process even relevant? Do they actually just crack the code on the consulting business model so it is scalable without more humans? Where is this line where AI is required and the grant writer is needed? The reality is things were going so well for them in Canada that they wanted to enter the US market. So Chris flew to my 5% Club Mastermind. This is where we gather all of our consultants that are making at least 100K in grant writing revenue. We shared with them everything about like how he's getting a stream of clients using Facebook meta ads, getting complex grants down to literally, I'm not kidding, 4 hours per grant of writing time. Mind-blowing stuff when these are proposals that typically take 100 hours. If you've watched my past videos, you knew like we're in the thick of talking about becoming equity partners to bring them into the US market, where 15% of the entire federal budget is spent on grants. I know, it's a mind-numbing amount of money, my friends. And that is not even accounting for all the money spent by foundations. So we put a call out among members of the Global Grant Writing Collective and within 24 hours had 167 responses. Unicorns that rose their hand to help us do funding strategy research on the different sectors of the US market so we could strategize basically our go-to-market plan. From that list, we got it down to 5 grant writers that we hired, set them loose on researching what grant programs in the US would work best to apply the business model that they were using in Canada. Now, at this point, it's May 2024, and I am literally pulling out my hair as if I didn't lose enough of it from having a baby. Seriously, the wispies, you guys, it's out of hand. But anyway, I'm just not seeing it. Like, how are these for-profit grants in Canada translating to the US? Sure, we've got SBIR and STTR grants and some USDA programs for farmers and ranchers, but on the whole, that's a pretty small sliver of the opportunities, right? More money is going to healthcare and municipalities, etc. And it's also a very different marketing process because those people don't buy because of a compelling Facebook ad. So I made the pitch that, look, I think your technology is completely going to work, but your marketing strategy will not. If you're willing to adapt your marketing strategy, however, there is a huge market here, even if all you do is focus on healthcare or education or the agriculture sectors first. Now it's July, and I'm out living my best life in McCarthy. I'm camping in an RV with a baby. I'm working out of a tent on my new property. Side note, if you want to go watch the video on that, just go check it out below, I'll link it up. Anyway, it's getting to be like the true go time. Are we going to make this partnership happen or not? I was prepared to move my family to Kelowna, British Columbia to collaborate directly with the Beta team, right? Because when you're building something, you need that momentum. You need to be like in the flesh. We had a trip to Seattle. It's all planned. We're going to break bread, belly to belly, and make this a go where Learn Grant Writing becomes an equity partner. And in case you're wondering what equity means, because honestly, I didn't even understand it for like the first 3 years I was in business, it basically means being a co-owner, right? So that same week, we were going to drop for our unicorns a huge release of this updated AI grant writing software that they'd been working on that basically would allow us to have a core grant application functionality. And as you might recall, we built Unicorn Copilot, just because I'm like lacking a name for it. Basically this AI grant writing software tool to help with project development and putting together your funding strategy. And that was released last fall. So this was like a natural extension of that. So then right before it's time to drop that new software, ink a deal, embark on this crazy new chapter for Learn Grant Writing, and me personally, right? Like moving my whole family. Chris calls me and drops a bomb. And he's like, Meredith, the software doesn't work. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. But just like that, this incredible startup that had so much success so quickly came to a screeching halt and experienced a total existential crisis. And they had failed for 3 reasons. They chose the wrong customer. They built their software and their business to serve businesses in Canada that could receive grants. And that actually makes up less than 5% of the grants in Canada too. And the truth is, they had wasted months trying to sell a needle in a haystack while looking in the wrong haystack in the first place. And where I failed is that I thought I had conveyed from the very beginning a year ago that the opportunities really just aren't with businesses. They're with nonprofits and municipalities. But I didn't get through, and that is probably my biggest regret. Personally, their product was not actually scalable. When I first met Chris in Kelowna last year at that really heavy hitter business mastermind, remember I kind of snuck my way in, all these 8 and even 9-figure business owners, and I was there with my little 7-figure business. Anyway, Chris said to me that they're building a mold for each grant so that each application they pursue is highly trained on that specific program, right? Like exact AI prompts, structure, examples, etc. They had 2 programs in Canada that served over 10,000 businesses. But it turns out that was a bit of an anomaly, and they didn't have other programs in Canada that distributed that many grants where it would make sense to have a dedicated mold. And by the way, Beta wasn't the only startup to try it this way. There was a startup that went through Y Combinator down in Silicon Valley, and they focused exclusively on REAP, Renewable Energy for America program. And they too eventually discovered this fatal flaw. The takeaway is that software you build honestly has to kind of be like how Grantable is doing it, and I suspect Instrumental is now too. They just released their beta version, where it's built to work for all grants, not specific programs. They marketed via ads. And look, those ads worked well for targeting dairy farmers in Canada on their phones, for example, but it turns out the algorithm can't determine who is in the market for a grant economically. And guess what, y'all? Turns out the way we teach you to find clients via the organic networking framework and via my latest training, the Inbound Pipeline Builder, it is still the best way to find clients. I'm kind of airing out their dirty laundry, and ours. But there are a few things I want you to take away from this. We don't fail. We succeed or we learn. We put a lot of money into this, and Beta put in 10 times that. They poured thousands of hours into building a really remarkable and powerful tool. They're actively pivoting right now, and I've got all the confidence in the world that they're going to find a path forward with their technology and innovation. And I don't know if they're going to stay in the grant lane or they're going to branch out elsewhere. For example, Slack was just this internal side project. They were a gaming company at first, and now look at them. So you never know. AI is an awkward teenager. Teenagers are awesome, and if they're anything like me, they're high risk takers. You're exploring, you're getting to know yourself, you're testing your limits. AI is that teenager that can do epic things to help the modern grant writer, but it still's got a long way to go. I'm gonna link up below a free training on how you can build a custom GPT grant writing buddy. We're gonna be rolling that out at the summit, in addition to a list of all the tools that the modern grant writer needs, which goes well beyond just ChatGPT. With that being said, AI is still awkward. It's full of zits. It needs some adult supervision, right? It's in that formative year, so understand that. Now, where does that leave Learn Grant Writing and our relationship to AI? I'm gonna be real with you. When Beta bagged out on coming to Seattle and moving our partnership forward, I was fine at first, and then I wasn't. Then I was pissed because I saw that perfectionism and ego was keeping them from showing up when we have the industry knowledge, the expertise, hundreds of grant writers, if not thousands, including my alumni, and we could have definitely guided them to a solution. And I also felt this physical weight lift off my shoulder, right? Like the hustle culture of building a unicorn startup is not really energetically aligned with where I'm at as a new mom. I'm a single mom half the year with my husband's work schedule and having the time to pour into the grant writing collective. And so in that moment, I knew exactly what I was going to do instead of building a new company. I was going all in on my health, physical, emotional, spiritual. You can probably hear it in my voice. I actually kind of got a cold. Like it's just from doing too much. So my family and the collective doesn't get what's left of me. They continue to get the best of me. Like I mentioned earlier, Chris and I are being super duper honest about what we learned the hard way building an AI grant writing powered startup at the Fundraising.ai Summit. It's free. It's a one-day event, October 1st. Get registered at that link below. And if the date's passed when you're listening to this, I'm going to link up a subsequent video that I'll record on the 9 lessons we learned to help any grant writer in the age of AI, because this is going to be the no BS, the real stuff about what you need to do to be able to win more grants using AI without losing your mind. All right, with that, I'll see you in the next video.